Hello.
Hi.
Hi, it's happy winter solstice.
Yes.
I'm very excited about today and about meeting with you. And yeah, I wanted to begin with just talking a little bit about cycles and seasons. I have this book. It's called The Hopi Survival Kit, and it is the author is Thomas E. Males, and some folks like him, and some folks aren't that enthusiastic about him. But there's a lot of nice wisdom here from some of the elders, and so I wanted to just take what's good and leave the rest.
Okay.
Take what you like and leave the rest, as we say in the recovery movement. But there's some beautiful photographs, but what I like about the book is that it's talking about something really ancient, which is the cycles and the seasons, right? But here it says that we want to be able to have our attitudes, feelings, and rhythms that we're paying attention to during the year. And we want to make life harmonious in the world. And that the Creator tells us to move towards simplifying whatever we can instead of wanting more. We should concentrate on wanting less. Then losses will be less traumatic and minimal insurance will be required, taxes will be lower, and security devices will be a needless commodity. The time formerly spent in acquiring and hoarding things can then be spent with those we love, who will value the sharing for the rest of their lives. So I thought that was really powerful, um, and they, of course, they have instructions and all different kinds of things. And he spoke with elders, and they had a translator. So I'm sure that the translator didn't do everything perfectly, but I really appreciate this book, and I appreciate that it's based on the cycles and seasons. And so um, here's this one too, and this is about. While we read this part of the instructions, hold three words firmly in your mind: attitudes, feelings, and rhythm. And as you put the work, as you put the secret to work where you live, where you work, where you travel, and where you play, these attributes will give you a new improved attitude. It will become one of love and peace, with new improved feelings about life and people and the things you do. You will be caught up in a new improved rhythm of synchronization with Mother Earth, the planet, the universe, and others. You will have more energy, move differently, feel differently, and have a sense of fulfillment. And so that is it's so interesting, because when we were talking earlier, we were talking before, you were talking about storytelling, and that the solstice and the winter time is a time of storytelling, and I feel like we have all of these ways that are so precious to us, and we have all of these things and experiences and ways that we can live that we have to remember, and that those are more important than things,
Right.
you know. But I just wanted to know your thoughts about the cycles and seasons, and yeah.
You know, one day I was walking with my little kindergartners, and it was cold outside, and one of them was like, "I can't wait for snow." And another one said, "I need to move where it's hotter." And I was like, "Really?" And it just made me think and appreciate the seasons. Like I like them all. In
Yeah.
South Dakota, you can have all four
Yeah.
anytime. In one day, even
In
sometimes.
one day.
Yeah. And so I enjoy the change of the seasons. I don't enjoy change within my personal life sometimes, but
Mm.
it also shows me that, change is possible in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
And it even makes you think like some of the change, that happens around the world, it just happens without
Yeah.
any thought into it, it just happens. And just like change within our own lives, it just happens.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
embracing the change is where we need to be, I don't know, more open hands, open heart with, even though it's hard sometimes. Um, because we want to control everything.
Jeez. Yeah.
And then that's when it just gets complicated, and just like the book is said, be more simple, but we try to control so much, too much, and then it just becomes more complicated, complex. And are
Mhm.
we living at that point? Are we enjoying life? We being present within our own journeys
Mhm.
that we all have. So this is something that came up.
I think it's that too that, when I'm thinking about the cycles and the seasons, and I think that it's been something that we can rely on,
Yeah.
that, um, there's changes that we can rely on that
Right.
aren't like a surprise, like,
Right. Right. Right.
uh, there's changes we can rely on, and maybe there'll be a few things that'll be a little different, but it's so interesting. Angelus used to say, like, whatever we can, rely on, we will sometimes take for granted,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And well, she didn't say sometimes. She said, wow, when you take something for granted, it's something you can rely on, you know.
Right.
Um, but now things are changing with the seasons and with the
Yeah.
cycles because we're not being, we're not paying attention. We're not being good relatives to the cycles and the seasons, as my mom would say. We need to be a relative and see them as like what we did in the order of things, which is, you know, these are beings. They're spiritual creatures, and so are we. And how can we interact in a good way? And so I think if we can start honoring the cycles and the seasons and what they ask of us again, right? I think I I'm going to be celebrating Yalda this evening, which is an Iranian holiday, which is on the solstice. Um, and since I found my dad, as you know, I've been, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to honor these ancestors, and my Turkish and Iranian, and so I I think that my Middle Eastern, my cluster of Middle Eastern ancestors, and that's felt like something really good to do.
Right.
And so yeah, so I think there's something also about ritual, and of course my beautiful niece Ella Love, this is her
Yeah.
birthday. you
Her
know.
birthday today.
Yeah, yeah, you're amazing. Human daughter who came to the world to make our lives better. Um, you know, yeah. So I think that it's interesting. I just in my mind I think about that and I'm like, wow, new life. Like springtime came in the winter, right?
Right.
Like this beautiful new life, this gift from the mystery. And so I think about that, like the different cycles of our lives, like being born, youth, springtime, and then we become children and adolescents, and I think what's happening is that we're mixing those things up. Like even elder people want to look young,
Yeah.
you know. It's like you don't want to be young when you're older. And younger people want to be older than they are. And so it's like things seem to me, it's like things are kind of getting mixed up
Mhm.
with how we're always the perfect age for where we are in life,
Right. Right.
you know? And so to want it, like you were saying, wanting to, it's like change this thing that is a natural cycle
Yeah.
and these natural seasons. Um, it's kind of interesting. So to not change what is natural,
Yeah.
you know.
To not change is natural.
Yeah, to not change what's natural, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
To not change what's natural. It's so interesting. I found a couple of, you know me, I surprise, shocking, I because I'm a poet, and I'm a poet. That was like that. My mom used to say that to me, and your feet show it because they're Longfellows, you know. I was like, oh my gosh, mom. Yeah, funny. But I found this one. There were two that I found. There was also this other one in this other book, but I guess this is the one that is coming, called The Gratitude. Where did it go? The Gratitude book. Oh well. Okay, we're going to be grateful for this poem and that it stayed on my desk, okay?
Yeah.
Because the other one, I don't know where it fucking went. Like it just like I'm like, okay. Great
Shoot.
spirits. The spirits must have taken it. They're just like, okay, that's not the one for today. I can accept the facts. I can accept the yeah. Oh my God. Um, and so this one is Thank You. It's by a poet. His name is Ross Gay. Um, and you can find him online. He's amazing and by his incredible books. But he says, from Thank You, Ross Gay, if you find yourself half naked and barefoot in the frosty grass, hearing again the earth's great sonorous moan that says, you are the air of the now and gone, that says, all you love will turn to dust and will meet you there. Do not raise your fist. Do not raise your small voice against it. And do not take cover. Instead, curl your toes into the grass. Watch the cloud ascending from your lips. Walk through the garden's dormant splendor. Say only, thank you, thank you.
That was a nice poem.
Ross Gay.
It's like, just be here, just be willing, just flow with everything that comes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I just as you was reading it, it was just like a visual, and you know, sometimes that's when death comes, or you know, it's like there's no fighting against nothing. It's just go with it, you know. Just go with it. Even though it's always a fear, you know, of who you're leaving.
Yeah.
But I think the more, you know, the more you share, the more you talk about it, you're able to curl your toes, you know, and just be
Mm.
thankful that you had this amount of time.
Yeah. I love that. I love that it's the miracle, like that, you know, what am I going to do with today?
Right.
Am I going to make miracles of it? Am I going to have meaningful connections? Am I going to
Right.
create things that are like simple and good and not fucking complicate everything till,
Right. Right.
you know, or
Make
like you
everything
said,
harder.
yeah, like control everything into
Yeah.
like until it has no semblance of its natural form, you know.
Right. Right.
So it's just like to not fight what is natural. And I think
Mhm.
that's what we're running into is we're all, you know, in different ways, just fighting what's natural, you know, instead
And
of
I think finding that balance in between, you know, what's natural and what you might think you need to be, or what the society makes you want to be. But it's just finding that balance in between and finding who you are
Mhm.
naturally. So that way you're able to just flow through.
Mhm.
And, you know, I get it. I struggle with that every day, trying to find the balance. We're human.
Mhm.
We want to control everything and have a say in whatever it is. But I really think that if we just let our guard down and just flow, everything's aligned how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
you'll be able to see that alignment. You'd
yeah,
be able to see it, feel it, hear it. And I think that in itself is more rewarding and like being satisfied, if you was able to control something and you're not satisfied, then you're still upset and you're still trying to control something of a situation that you probably wasn't even supposed to be controlling in the first place. But if you're able to just let things align how they're supposed to and flow through,
yeah.
that it feels natural, it feels right, it feels connected, and you're on that right path where you're supposed to be.
It's interesting so that you're saying that because I think that it's just kind of like it reminds me of what the I Ching says. I'm just reflecting on that and remembering like there are parts of the I think it's the I Ching. I think it's those. Is it this? I think it's the Stephen Mitchell I Ching, but it says that there's nothing to be gained by interfering. It's just like there's not, and when I think about that, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like nature is doing a good job, and we have our part to do, right? We have our work to do. We have things to remember. We have stories to remember. We have, you know, and like all of the, I think there's a lot of people who are trying to do the right thing and the good thing, and I think we just have to remember
Mhm.
how to do it, some of us,
Right.
because nobody taught us how to do. We were taught how to be, individuals, and taught how to, be selfish and
Yeah.
concerned about ourselves. And but what's true is if we're concerned about our tribe and the other people in our tribe and in our family and in our communities and our village and our towns, wherever they may be, we will be okay. We all have gifts that are gifts and talents that were born with us, that we can offer each other and help each other with our gifts and make things better for everyone. So I think that's really powerful what you're saying about that. And how can we, and the Hopi Survival Kit, it talks about planting, cultivating, harvesting, Thanksgiving. I got a bunch of fact checking to do on what I just said, but I think it's the I Ching. I'll have to look up the specific the specific one. But I'm also thinking about Mary Oliver's poem, and it's like when death comes. I don't know if you know that poem.
No.
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. It's such a beautiful poem. When death comes, like I think it's like a hungry beggar. When death comes, and there's something about snapping her purse shut, and like a hungry bear in autumn. And but something, I think the last line is something like, I don't want to end up simply visiting this life, you know? I want to have contributed something and done something good, um, and been real,
Yeah.
just tried to find myself, and discover what's real, and that changes every day. I mean, different things are emerging, our in our identities every day. We're always changing.
You just said being real,
Hmm.
finding finding who you are, and through these seasons of change, there's different things that you rituals like that you can do. um you can even make your own ritual you know
Yes, make your own ritual. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like do those things to find who you are and be real with it. you know?
Yeah.
Because like when it's winter time, I love just being at home and being
Mm,
with family. It's kind of like you're hibernating a little bit, you know?
yeah. That's
And it
true.
just gives you that time to be with yourself and be with your family and see other things and who they really are and the change that they're becoming. And because it's like we're not the same person every day. We change a little every day. Every day we change a little. And
I
for the
love
good,
that.
sometimes for the bad, we might take a few steps back, but that's okay. Like, just keep
Mm,
moving forward. And so I just really like where I'm at right now because I'm able to like see, feel, and hear like others, myself. And
oh, I
that's
so
just like
love.
a blessing.
Yeah.
When before it was like I was tunnel vision and I don't know what I was looking at or what I was listening to or I don't know. I can't even like find myself going backwards. Sometimes in certain situations I do, but like to be where I was like, man, was I really living?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Wow.
I don't think so.
Fucking powerful. Was I really living? Yeah. Yeah.
And I made it this far, with and living, like you're living, but you really wasn't living.
Yeah.
It's like you're just going through the motions, the routines, and how
Mm.
sad.
Yeah, to really be living, to really be feeling and those I think there's these cycles and these seasons also like winter is a time of gestation and a time of going within
Yeah.
um and it's also and the Hopis have asked us to share this and to do this and to talk about this and read their minutes and really focus on cycles and seasons no matter where we are in the world, something we can all do. Um, and to have our own spirituality, but to pay attention to these things, these important things. Um, and one of the things that they talk about is about praying. Like during this time of year, we need to pray for the well-being of the entire world.
Right.
And I think about a lot of things right now, and I just think about how important that is. And I think that as you're speaking about ritual, and there's a hawk that just landed outside of my. That's amazing. He's a falcon, a little falcon, I think. Wow, that's cool. So, and I'm like, in Seattle, so it's just an interesting thing when that happens. I've got to, yeah, it's really, thank you. Thank you for visiting. Thank you, friend. Um, so I got so distracted by the hawk. What was I saying? What was I saying? No,
I'm just like all
like,
in awe.
3 seconds. Oh my gosh.
the
Okay.
so they're the Hopis are, wanting to share the seasons and the rituals
And then the hawk came, of course,
and
the
then
hawk.
the hawk came and what is the hawk saying?
Right. And the hawk is, I mean, the hawk is like about right vision and expand, like they can see really far away.
Ah,
And so they're about vision and yeah, oh my gosh, I'm all embarrassed now, like, oh my gosh, no. But but I was talking about they're making prayers for the well-being of the entire world. And then I got into a bunch of reverie. I was just in this reverie and feeling and kind of lost my place. But um which we get to do that
yeah.
sometimes. But I just want us to all be thinking about the well-being of the entire world. And what's cool is if we don't remember, if we forget, like I just did, and get taken, to another place, that place probably has something for us, but we can always course correct and come back with the help of our relatives. Like we really need each other for sure.
Right.
Um, but rituals, that's what I was talking about. That's what that all brought me to. Um, and so what are the rituals we can do? We can pray, we can, one of my rituals is I like to sit and watch what the birds do. That's something that I do, and it is a daily ritual for me. But other rituals that we have cross culturally is feasts. We have feasts. We have like tonight is Yalda, the Iranian celebration. So, and we have very specific foods. Like we eat watermelon and pomegranates and persimmons, and we have poetry and the elders. We look at poetry, and the poetry is it's like oracle work for the coming year.
Hmm.
And so, and it used to be that fires were built, and those fires would stay burning all night long to ask the sun to return, to honor the return of the sun, and to light the darkest night of the year. And so tonight we'll do that in a different way with a candle and, build a fire in the fireplace and do it that way. And then we'll have these foods that all have symbolic meaning, and we'll used to be you would stay up all night long, and to do that. And now two or three, oftentimes is what, is kind of the norm for that. Um, but it's something that since I found my birth father and learned that, now I've been, really honoring that tradition as from my ancestors. And so that's a ritual. But like you said, it's like if we don't have a ritual, we can create one. Like, what do I want to do on the solstice? And, then because there are also really globally, no matter where you go, these are the sacred days. The
Mhm.
equinox and the solstice, those are the sacred days, and ceremonies and ritual happened globally, and monuments were built.
Right.
So, how to honor these times so that we can pay attention. And if we get derailed, we can, have help to get back on track again. I mean, at least that's my hope. Get back going in the right direction
Yeah.
to
Come back.
authenticity. Yeah. Yeah, come back. So, yeah, what do we need to remember? What do we need to remember?
You're just thinking about, Allah's birthday today, and it's
Mm,
like that's our new ritual,
yeah.
celebrating life.
Oh, yes, celebrating life.
Mhm.
Yes.
And so, it just comes to show that things change,
Mm.
and a new ritual comes into play, and that's okay.
Hmm.
Because I know once she gets older, we might be doing something different. I don't know. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so, but right now, we're celebrating life.
Yeah. So interesting. In the Hopi prophecy, they say, celebrate life and blend with nature,
Hmm.
you know? Yeah. And that this is the time where we speak highly of people, where we, like, no matter what, we build our relationships and believe that everyone is doing the best that they can.
Right.
And we repair our connections and spend time with our loved ones, because that's what really matters.
Hmm. It does. That's we can never get that time back. It's like those are forever instilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, is there anything you would like to share with our viewers about the solstice, or any parting thoughts?
I think, you know, turning inward and
Hmm.
finding a ritual or creating one.
Hmm.
It just sounds fun, and it it sounds right, like if we
Mhm.
could do something, do that with yourself, with family, whatever it is. And through the talk that we just did, it was really good that you got steered away and then you came back, because we really do need each other in
Yeah,
this world.
we
We
do.
might think we're individuals, but we need each other. And so, how can you help someone else or lean on someone? Because that's the hardest thing, right?
Yeah.
Leaning on someone, asking for help. So, being that good relative.
Mm,
and knowing that we need each other in this world, and it makes a beautiful it makes it more beautiful to be on the journey.
mm. Thank you, sister. Thank you. And I wanted to close with a poem, and
Yeah.
I'm really excited to do those things. I'm going to create a ritual, and which will be fun. Like creating a personal ritual sounds like a lot of fun to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, and then just looking at what is emerging in my identity,
Oh, yes. Yep.
like what is emerging, and also the honoring of the winter, of that there's so much to integrate from the spring and the summer and the fall, and just to integrate and to keep what is still useful, and to let go, let go, let go, what,
Mhm.
you know, to reflect.
Right.
And this is by Wu, and it is 10,000 Flowers in Spring. And it's translated from Chinese by Stephen Mitchell. 10,000 flowers in spring, the moon in autumn, a cool breeze in summer, snow in winter. If your mind isn't clouded by unnecessary things, this is the best season of your life. 10,000 flowers in spring, the moon in autumn, a cool breeze in summer, snow in winter. If your mind isn't clouded by unnecessary things, this is the best season of your life.
I need that poem
Okay, I
hung
will.
up in my room somewhere
Yeah,
in my house.
yeah. I will send you a picture. I will
Oh,
send you a picture.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for making this one of the best seasons of my life. I'm so grateful to you, sister.
I'm
Thank
thankful.
you for, yeah, being in these
I
conversations.
actually missed the talks. I was like,
Yeah.
so it
Oh,
was good. And today was even better.
it was the best one yet. They're
Yeah.
just going to keep getting better. All right, sister. I love you.
See you. Love you.